nation, feeling so alive. Summer rhythm flame, we're gonna thrive. Go, 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 oh, shout it aloud. Hear the summer sun, we're a summer loving crowd. Talking Brazil.
Hello there and welcome to Talking Brazil Ball. In today's show, Cruzeiro cruise up the table and Flamengo gut helpless Galo. All of that and much, much more to come in today's episode of Talking Brazil Ball. We will see you on the other side of this.
Spreading love in every way. In the summer paradise, we're here to stay.
Enough of that then. Yes, we are here to stay. I'm George, of course. Welcome along to another episode 86 of Talking Brazil Ball. Flamengo, fantastic Flamengo. Gut Galo, I've named it, as they did so very handsomely the other day. Gutting for me and everybody surrounding Galo, but Flamengo, fantastic. Rising up the table, although they are 5 points off 6 points off Palmeiras at the top. Palmeiras chugging along as they do very, very nicely at the moment. We'll get into everything in this episode. We'll start with my game of the week, which I chose last week, of course. Next week, we'll try and do the pod a little bit close to the start of the week. It is the end of the week. The next match day does start tomorrow as of recording, so a little bit later with the pod this week. But my game of the week was the one that was at the bottom of the table at the start of proceedings. It was Remo against Cruzeiro. And Cruzeiro, of course, won the game 1-0 in the end through a first half goal from young Kenny Arroyo, who was obviously in contention for the young player of the round of one. He didn't win it, but he could have done. It was a lovely goal, a nice little left hand, cut in from the right hand side, shot to the bottom corner with his left foot. It was his first goal of the season. He is a regular for Cruzeiro. Cruzeiro are motoring now, aren't they? Under new boss Arthur Jorge. We know Arthur Jorge's got real good pedigree in Brazil now. He's a good manager, and he had pedigree and experience as well, of course, in Portugal with Braga, short stint in Qatar. It was over a year, wasn't it? And now he's back in Brazil with Cruzeiro. Cruzeiro didn't really work under Tite. Now they are motoring. That is their third win in a row in the Brazil round. They did follow it up with a Libertadores win over Boca Juniors, a team that needs no introduction, Boca Juniors. And they have won 2 of their 3 Libertadores group stage games. So they're sitting in third place currently. They would go into the Sudamericana as it would stand. It's still very early stages. Still got to play every team again in the groups. So they're doing well. They're unbeaten now in 4 games. They've only lost 1 in 7. They've won 5 of those games. So they're going really, really well. And I expect them to rise up the table. They have risen up to 12th actually with that win over Remo. They're doing quite well. In terms of Remo, though, it's not looking good for them. Obviously, another defeat. They did win in the Copa do Brasil against Bahia. They have the first leg again in a couple of weeks' time. So, Bahia were beaten 3-1 by Remo on a few weeks ago, last Wednesday, I think. What followed was a Cruzeiro defeat on the Saturday, but that was their only win in quite a few games. 6 games, they only won 1 in 6. They haven't won in the league since, again, a win, a battering of Bahia. Bahia are getting on the wrong end of some poor scorelines against Remo this season. Back in March, late March, Remo absolutely stuffed Bahia 4-1. That is their only win in the league to date. They have drawn 5 more games, but obviously defeats are now coming. That is 2 in a row. They got thrashed by RB Bragantino last time out. This time beaten narrowly by Cruzeiro. They travel to Botafogo tomorrow evening as of recording. So another difficult game. Fogo are starting to rise up the table under Carvalho. So Carvalho. So but Fogo are doing a little bit better. Just a point above Cruzeiro, incidentally. So it's another tricky game for Remo and Leo Conde. But let's wait and see how they do. Obviously, languishing second bottom on just 8 points from 13 games. So that's my roundup of my game of the week. Let's move on to give out some awards, shall we? And let's start with this one. So our player of the round, it could have been one of 3 people, maybe. There was 3 players that got braces, 2 goals in this round of fixtures. Raul Heisa for Santos put Santos 2-0 up against Bahia with 2 penalties. Only for Bahia to come back to level the game at 2 apiece. He was on the cards for it, Raul Heisa, and also on the cards for a Player of the Round award again was the man in in hot form was Kevin Viroyas. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat just now. Kevin Viveros, the Colombian striker, who is in real hot form. He got our Player of the Round for Player of the Month for March. Last time out, and he scored 2 goals for PR in their win over Vitória, 3-1 win over Vitória. He got the decisive goal to put them 2-1 up in added on time, and then Gustavo added to the to the result with another goal. Excuse me. And rounded up the game with a 3-1 win in the 8th minute of added on time. But Vivoras doesn't get the Player of the Round award this week. The Player of the Round award goes to Mr. Pedro Guilherme of Flamengo. Pedro, who scored a brace in the before mentioned 4-0 thrashing of my team, Galo. It stings, does that one, because there's a bit of a rivalry between Galo and Flamengo, of course. At the area Arena MRV, they got absolutely pumped in Belo Horizonte. 4-0 by Flamengo. It does hurt, that one. Pedro scored 2 goals. He started the scoring and then he finished the scoring. And what about Pedro? He's always in the right spot at the right time, it seems. Just always there when it matters, just to tap the ball home. And again, that's what happened in this game. 2 goals, 2 very, very simple finishes. And he's just there every single time. The right place, the right time. And you've got to say, he has had Brazilian caps before as Pedro. Not for a while, obviously for about going on 2 years. But, if he continues, Ancelotti does like to dip into the homegrown players and look who there is in playing in Brazil. It's 7 goals from 12 games now for Pedro. So if he keeps this up come the World Cup time, then he's going to be in a conversation maybe for this, to be on the plane to the Americas in the summer. He's got 3 goals in his last 3 games. He's actually scored a heck of a lot in the last 6 games in all competitions. he has 6 goals in his last 6 games in all competitions. So he's starting to motor now, not only in the league but in the Libertadores as well. He did play yesterday in Flamengo's 1-1 draw with Argentine side Estudiantes in the Libertadores. He came on for the last 9 minutes of the game. Didn't really have much of a chance to impact the match. But yeah, he's starting to motor now. But like I said, he's a real poacher. And for me, as a Leeds United fan, we have been linked with Pedro about 3 years ago now. At the age of what he is, 28 now. For me, he's got to be looking at maybe going back into Europe. He did have a short spell with Fiorentina in the Italian Serie A in 2019, a very short stint. He came back to Brazil just a few months later in January of 2020, but he's played a heck of a lot of games for Flamengo, over 300 games. Flamengo over 150 goals as well. Very impressive record. He's a good player, and he's just a poacher. He just arrives in the 6-yard box at just the right time to tap the ball in, and that's what you want for a striker of that ilk, don't you? As well. So for me, Pedro has to be one that's looked at by European teams in the summer. I would love Leeds United to go out and buy a player like Pedro, because it would be, I think he'd be worth the sort of 15-20 million that that his price tag will command. But he wins it for this time, and he grabs it. So I think it's his first of the season. I don't think it'll be his last. But there you go. Flamengo's Pedro wins the Player of the Round award for this week. So there we go. So let's move swiftly on, and let's not talk more about that 4-0 beating for Galo. We don't need to speak much more on that, although Leonardo Jardim is doing a fabulous job of Flamengo after Felipe Luis was sacked. Let's see where he ends up. He still hasn't ended up in a job just yet. Maybe it's going to be Chelsea at the next season. Possibly, obviously, McFarlane is in there now. Sadly, they beat us, obviously, in the FA Cup semi-final over last weekend. But let's wait and see if Felipe Luis rocks up at Chelsea or any other European club next season. But anyway, moving swiftly on to the next award, which is this one.
Go, go, go.
And Brazilian football at its best, this goal certainly was. There was a couple of goals that could have won it here this week. There was a nice goal. There's a couple of nice goals, actually, in the Fogo Inter draw. Danilo scored a nice goal. There's also a nice goal from Inter as well in that one. I liked, actually, Plata. I wasn't going to mention it again, but I have to, because Gonzalo Plata's goal against Galo was very nice as well. A nice individual goal, finished with a low finish into the bottom right-hand corner. I think it was a left-hand corner, one of the two. And but the one that wins it for me was actually the last goal I saw of the whole highlight reel. But it was Enio's goal for Chapecoense against Fluminense. And it actually got them back on level terms in the game. They did eventually lose the match to another goal by John Kennedy, who came on as a sub, and then 7 or 8 minutes later he scored the winning goal. John Kennedy, 6 goals now. He started the season back from the cold, as we say, and he started the season in hot form. He might be again on European teams' radar come the summertime, possibly, if he keeps it up. But Zubeldia's doing a marvellous job with Fluminense. They are level with rivals Flamengo at the top end of the table. They are in third at the moment, 3 points clear of Sao Paulo. They did win this one, like I said. Severino got them off and running in the second half with a penalty. Enio did equalise, which is the goal we will talk about in a second. And then Kennedy got the winner in the 86th minute of the game, which ended up being, the winner for Fluminense, and then they get another win. They did lose in the Libertadores last night, 2-0 to Bolivian side Bolivar, which wasn't a good result, obviously at all. The young lad Robson Matthias scored 2 goals to down Flu on last night. They're back in league action on Sunday night against Inter. But enough of them. We will talk about Enio and Chapecoense. It was a lovely, lovely goal, this. He just you thought he was looking for an option on the edge of the penalty box, and he couldn't find it, so he just swung it with his right foot, arrowed it into the top corner. The goalkeeper, the old boy, of course, Fabio, no chance as it flew in past him. To level the scoring at the time, obviously, like I said, Chapecoense did go on to lose the game. Fabio Matias is back in Serie A management. But Chapecoense are bottom of the table. They did start the season okay. They started it okay. They started it quite well, but it's gone downhill from there for them. And no wins now in all competitions for 12 games. They haven't won a game in the league since late January. 12 games in all competitions without a win now, which is really, really poor. 4 defeats in a row for Matias. He's really got a job to do. Obviously, he's only just come in. I think it was last month. No, it was this month. So he's played 4 games. He's lost every single game he's played. But this was a little bright spark. Enio's goal. Enio, I think, he might have played under Matias when Matias was manager of Juventude. I know Enio has had 1 or 2 personal issues that have been highlighted. I think he was part of a betting scandal, if I remember correctly. He must have been cleared of that, though. So he's back amongst the goals. It was a lovely finish. It was his first goal of the season. He's only played 4 games in the season so far. So 1 or 2 issues for Enio, but this was a lovely, lovely goal. 1 or 2 issues, obviously, for Chapecoense as a team. They do play the Iron Action on Sunday as well, at home to RB Bragantino. So that's a difficult game. What they don't want is the rot to set in, because it might do under Matias, and it might be difficult to get back. But let's wait and see what happens. We're back. I just paused it for a second. I did need a drink just to clear my throat and whatnot. I didn't want everybody to keep hearing that. So, but we're back. We are back on. And talking about Chapecoense, so they really do need an upturn in form. 12 games in all competitions without a win. So we're going to have, away at home against Bragantino, the next one. They really do need an upturn. Obviously, otherwise, Matias is probably going to be out the door within another 3 or 4 games. You never know. The bottom of the table don't seem to wait to pull the trigger on these 2. Well, none of them do really, do they? But you got to say maybe it's time up. If you don't win one in the next sort of 3 or 4 games, you would have said. But let's wait and see what happens with them. But Enio, it was a really nice goal. This one, go and check it out if you can. He wins this week's goal of the round. Brazilian football at its best indeed. Now on we go very swiftly and quickly on to the final award of the episode, and it is this one.
A bright future ahead for this guy, a young talent of Brazil. How far can he go? It's the young player of the round award.
So the young, the young player of the round one. I can't get this out my throat, but we'll bat on. The young player of the round award. So there we are. We're back. Again, hopefully no stoppages this time on towards the end of the pod because just need to get that out my system. I think. Thank you for that and sticking with me if you already have done for the 20 minutes we've been on. The Young Player of the Round award is Mr. Gabriel Mek of Gremio, who won. Like I said, it could have been a Yoho of Cruzeiro, but I just thought this lad might have just deserved it more. It was the winning goal he scored against Curitiba to give Gremio a win. He scored it just before the halftime whistle came and gives Gremio an important win. Now, he did play a couple of he hasn't. It's his breakthrough season in the Serie A in the Brasileirão. Gabriel Mek. Only 18, only just turned 18 a few weeks ago, mid-April. So he's very much a raw talent, is Gabriel Mek. And it was a lovely finish, this, just as halftime approached against Curitiba to just inside the 6-yard box, finish it off nicely past the goalkeeper. It was a nice goal. Really, really nice goal. Just outside the 6-yard box. Finished it smartly. Went mental as you would do. First goal in senior football. He has caps for the Brazilian under 17 side, and he has scored a goal for them. But first involvement this season really in first team action. First goal, and he's only played 10 games. For Gremio this season. So fabulous moment for him and Luis Castro, who did who orchestrated the win eventually. But they're on a little bit of upturn of form. Gremio, they're sitting in 11th in the table. They're unbeaten now in 3 games. Did draw in the Sudamericana last night with Chilean side Palestino. It was a 0-0 draw. Mek did play the whole game, the whole match in this one in the number 10 position. So he, very much established himself under Luis Castro as a bit of a mainstay in this team as Gremio look to find the form and potentially march up the table a little bit more. Curitiba, on the other hand, under Fernando Seabra, they've started well, haven't they? They've done well so far this season as a promoted side. They might be feeling a little bit frustrated at the moment with only one win in 7 games. And that was over my team, Galo, as well, a couple of weeks ago. They haven't scored now for 3 games in all competitions. That is, for 2 games in all competitions. They didn't. They had a 0-0 draw with Santos in the Copa do Brasil last midweek. Obviously, they're not in any continental competitions. Curitiba, so they're just solely focusing on the cup and on the league at the moment. Vitoria is their destination tomorrow evening, so we'll wait to see if they can get back the winning ways against Vitoria, who are themselves, having an okay start to the season, albeit just a point above the relegation zone at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we'll also keep an eye on Gabriel Mek's career. I don't think it'll be the last time you hear his name on this podcast, because he is rising to the top. But he wins the Young Player of the Round award. Congratulations to him this week, and congratulations to Gremio and Luis Castro on a win this time around. So there we are, all the awards wrapped up for the moment. for this week. So we will now look towards the fixtures. I will pick my game of the round to look at next week, and then we will round up the table as we always do. So let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what the fixtures are for this upcoming week, which starts tomorrow, Saturday, the 2nd of May. So it starts Saturday, the 2nd of May. Fogo against Remo. Palmeiras host Santos. Vitoria host Curitiba. Into Sunday the 3rd, then PR host Grêmio, sorry. Cruzeiro host Galo. Flamengo host Vasco. Sao Paulo against Bahia. Topcanense against RB Bragantino. Inter against Fluminense, and then it wraps up on Monday, the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you, any Star Wars fans out there. Mirassol hosts Jesse Lingard's Corinthians. So there's only one game here, isn't there, that you have to cover. You have to cover. As a Galo fan, of course, you have to look at this one. And I know we looked at Cruzeiro this time, but we'll look at Cruzeiro and Alto Jorge again this coming week, because it is the Belo Horizonte derby. Cruzeiro against Galo. Wow, what a game this is. What a game this is in practice, a mouth-watering clash, as it always is. I think Eduardo Dominguez really does need a win in this game. Otherwise, I think people are going to start to get a little bit frustrated, because the 4-0 thrashing at home to Flamengo was followed up by an away defeat in Peru to Cienciano last night. A 1-0 defeat. Galo did finish with 10 men as well. Angelino Prisardo got his marching orders. So, yeah, we really need a win in this game. It's a big game away at their spot, It's a big one. And we really do need to see a win, because I think, although we won in the Copa do Brasil against Ceará last midweek, I think it's 3 defeats out of 4 now. We haven't scored in any of those 3 defeats either. It was a 2-1 win over Ceará, which got us over the line in the first leg of that tie. I think Eduardo Dominguez is on the ropes, personally. Galo are sitting in 15th position, just level on points with Santos, who do currently occupy the last relegation place at the moment. I think if he loses this derby, I think that's curtains for Eduardo Dominguez, to be quite honest. As we said, Cruzeiro sit only 2 points above Galo in 12th position, but they're on the upward trajectory, as we spoke about earlier on. Alto Jorge is a fantastic coach at this level. It's coaches like that I think Galo really do need to look at. Obviously not at the moment. Obviously with him being at the rivals, and maybe not ever now, with him showing himself to the blue side of Belo Horizonte. But it's a big game for both. I'll be having it, watching it and looking at it in with with the Galo hat on, and everything else. So I'll be watching that one, which is happening early doors on Sunday morning. So yeah, we'll be watching that and hoping for a Galo win, but let's wait and see. So that's my game of the week. We will round up now the table, and then we will say our goodbyes. So here we are. In first position is Palmeiras on 32 points. Second, Flamengo on 26. Third is Fluminense on 26. Fourth, Sao Paulo on 23. We are doing very well in fifth on 22. Bahia in sixth on 21. Curitiba 7th on 19. 8th is Fogo on 17. 9th is RB Bragantino on 17. 10th is Vasco on 16, 11th Gremio on 16, 12th is Cruzeiro on 16, 13th is Vitória on 15, 14th is Corinthians on 15 points, 15th is Galo on 14, 16th is Inter on 14, 17th is Santos on 14, 18th is Mirassol on 9, Remo are 19th on 8, and bottom of the pile, 20th position, Chapecoense also on 8 points. So neither myself or James are very happy at the moment with our two teams, obviously both sitting 15th and 16th respectively in the table, level on the points with the relegation zones not going very well. But the table is starting to take a little bit of shape now, isn't it? As we move towards, towards a halfway point in the season now. But everybody enjoy the sunshine as it has broken out in England here. It is the bank holiday weekend, so if you're not working, enjoy it, enjoy the football, and I will see you on the next one. Adios.
Bringing the passion from every town. Let the world